But Ted's time in the army was not over. His troop traveled near Milan, where disarmed German prisoners waited. Ted's regiment went back to Livona to guard a U.S. supply depot, where German prisoners were also kept. From September of 1945, Ted worked as a switchboard operator. By November, he was in the Pisa staging area, and in December he was granted a leave to Switzerland for a week of recreation.
In June 1946, Ted was assigned to the American Embassy as a military attaché, and he investigated the Japanese embassy in Rome. Ted went through offices and boxed up all documents, periodicals, office supplies, and stationery in the building. He remembers a huge black iron safe that was securely locked. An Italian drilled a hole near the lock so the safe could be opened, only to find nothing inside. All the items in the embassy were packed up and sent to Washington, D.C.
Ted got word from the U.S. Army major in charge of his regiment would be sent back to Pisa, Italy, while the rest of the troops would be able to return to Washington, D.C. to march in front of President Truman. However, Ted's paperwork had been lost. His records, along with others, had been left on top of a trash can and were thrown away by a German prisoner soldier who had mistaken it for trash. Ted had enough points to leave the Army and was sent to Leghorn, New York City, Chicago, and then Fort Lewis in August 1946 to be discharged.
Ted returned to Portland, Oregon in August 1946 to rejoin his old family friends, the Amadas. He was able to resume his education by attending the University of Oregon for a year before transferring to the University of Washington to work for a degree as a research librarian. While he was at UW, Ted lived at Chelan Hall and in the Senkoa house, where he fondly remembers a Japanese cook named Mr. Soma.
While Ted was at library school at the University of Washington, he met Margaret Misa Obama, who was finishing nursing school. Margaret, who was wearing a bright red coat that day, caught Ted's eye at the Senkoa House luncheon for singles.
Ted and Margaret married on December 23, 1950, at the Japanese Methodist Church in Seattle. They married close to Christmas because Ted had been hired by the Boeing Company as a research librarian for the aeronautical engineers at Plant No. 2 near Boeing Field. Ted would remain employed at Boeing for the next 37 years.
The couple lived together at Carlton Court at 1820 Jackson Street, which is now Franz's Bakery. 2 years later, in 1952, Ted bought an apartment that was nicknamed Mar-Ted for Margaret and Ted. The couple's first son, Rod, was born that year. Their first daughter, Bev, was born in 1954, and their youngest child, Roxanne, was born in 1958. In 1962, the year of the Seattle's World Fair, the family moved one final time from their one-bedroom apartment to 1531 East Calhoun Street. Ted and Margaret were happily married for 60 years.
In November 2011, Ted, along with the other members of the 442nd Infantry Regiment, were awarded the Congressional Gold Medal in Washington, D.C.
68 years after the U.S. allowed Japanese Americans to enlist, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, the 100th Battalion, and the Military Intelligence Service received the nation's highest civilian honor. The young men enlisted in droves despite being locked up with their families in internment camps by their own government because of their ancestry.
President Clinton put it well, I think, when he said of these men that rarely has a nation been more well served by a people it had so ill-treated.
Suffice it to say, they did everything that was ever asked of them and more.
Senator and Medal of Honor recipient Daniel Inouye thanked Congress on behalf of his colleagues.
This has been a long journey, but a glorious one.
For local veterans, the event brings pride and emotion.
Was it worth the sacrifice?
Yes, it was. Fight for my country.
How wonderful it is to be witnessing it in person.
His brave legacy will never be forgotten, and his family is blessed and honored to have him in their lives.
Today, August 17th, 2012, we celebrate Ted's 90th birthday. At 90 years old, Ted lives independently at his house in Montlake, attends church regularly, and manages the Martet Apartments. Every spring and summer, his garden produces beautiful calla lilies, daikon, tomatoes, beans, plums, cucumbers, and pumpkins. He continues to extend his love to all of us by remembering and celebrating our birthdays, graduations, weddings, anniversaries, and many other special occasions that occur in our lives.
This is my grandpa's story. It is a story that inspires us and motivates us to live our lives with determination, honor, and respect. His story is a true American legend. My grandfather will live in all of us for generations to come.
There's an old man called Mississippi. That's the old man that I want to be. What does he care if the world's got trouble? What does he care if the land ain't free? Old Man River, that old man River, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling. He keeps on rolling along. He don't plant taters, he don't plant cotton, and them that plants 'em is soon forgotten. But old man River, he just keeps rolling along. Sweat and strain, body all aching and racked with pain. Tote that barge and lift that bale, get a little drunk, and your land's in sick of trying. I'm tired of living and scared of dying. My old man River, it just keeps rolling.
This is Beverly Ikeda. Happy birthday, Grandpa.
Happy birthday, Grandpa. This is Allison. I am so happy for you.
Hi, Uncle Ted. This is your niece, Cheryl Davidson. I just wanted to wish you a very happy birthday. Bye.
Hi, this is Carol Henderson. This is Toshi Oneji. we just want to say happy birthday to Grandpa Ted.
Happy birthday, Uncle Ted.
Hi, Grandpa. This is Amy, Allison, Kate, Ann, and we just wanted to wish you a very happy birthday!